Jacqueline is a woman of many talents. She's been a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and even a scientist holding a PhD in microbiology. But that's not all. Jacqueline is also a certified health and life coach who's passionate about helping women over 50 achieve their health and wellness goals. She's here today to share her wisdom and insights on how to live your best life no matter your age. Welcome in, Jacqueline.
The other problem they have is that they say, "Oh, I'm too old for that. I'm too old." Oh my God, this is really real. That's what they think.
Share with people how old you are.
I am 80 years old,
So you
but I
never,
feel 50.
that's it.
You've got to take 20 minutes for each meal. And how do you do that? By chewing, by putting your fork down, breathing between bites. Okay, 20 minutes, because it takes 20 minutes for your stomach to signal to your brain that you.
Welcome to another episode of Reinventing Life After 50. Today, I'm very happy to have join us Jacqueline Lanoix. Welcome in, Jacqueline. Jacqueline is a woman of many talents. She's been a wife, a mother, a grandmother, and even a scientist holding a PhD in microbiology. But that's not all. Jacqueline is also a certified health and life coach who's passionate about helping women over 50 achieve their health and wellness goals. She's here today to share her wisdom and insights on how to live your best life no matter your age. Welcome in, Jacqueline. Tell everybody where you're calling in from.
Hey, hello, Scott. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Yeah. Okay, well, you want the long story?
Yeah, so where are you calling in from? Yeah, where are you calling in
Well,
from?
I come from Canada right now,
Yeah.
but I am originally from Haiti,
Ah,
which was then a country, not what it is today. It used to be called the Pearl of the Antilles, okay,
ah,
the Pearl of the Caribbeans in my time.
ah.
Okay, so I lived there for 16 years. I mean, 15 really. I turned 16 just when I finished school, which is the French system, by the way, of baccalaureate. So I turned 16 just when I finished, and my parents took me to Spain, to Madrid, because Duvalier had just gone into power and it was a mess. The country was a mess. So my parents wanted me not to waste my time because I was really good in school, so I wanted to have a career. And so they had a friend who had been in that college in Madrid who talked so much about it that my parents decided, okay, this is where you're going to go. So we got there in the summer. I did not know one word of Spanish. Had classes during the summer, a little 2 months of little conversation, a little bit of Spanish, and started school at the beginning of September, science, faculty of science.
So how old were you
And
at that time, like when you moved to Spain?
16,
16. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, just finished baccalaureate, my high school.
So that's a kind of
16.
pivotal time, right? Because you've made friends and all that, right?
Oh, that was the best time of my life at
Oh
that
my,
point.
oh my gosh.
Oh my God, it was sort of a freedom in a way because I was so sheltered in Haiti, in my country. Yeah, I made a lot of friends. Spanish people are so great. You can't imagine. It's fantastic. It was fantastic. And even the professors when we go to school, when we get into the class, everybody runs in to get to the first row. But the teacher would politely, nicely ask somebody in the first row to leave me the space because I don't know Spanish, so that I can hear, I
Oh,
can, appreciate the class. So that's it, you see. And so I sat there. I remember in the college, the director used to say, when Jacqueline just came in, she would sit at dinner listening. She doesn't say a word. She's listening, telling us we speak too fast. And then she started to speak faster than us.
So how long did it take you to learn the language?
Not long at all.
Really?
You know, I'm well. That's I have. I am very easy with languages. I'm very easy to learn. You know, and Spanish being a Latin language like French, it's easier to learn.
Ah, interesting.
Okay, easier than French, which has so many completely different. How do you say that? What's the word? Restrictions, anyway.
Hmm.
So Spanish is just you learn, and the way it is O in for masculine, A for feminine,
Yeah,
and yeah, I learned because the thing also I was inside, immersed in
yeah.
Spanish. Okay, not
You didn't
only
have a choice. You had to, right? I mean,
yeah,
you were kind of forced to do it. Yeah,
that's it. And
yeah.
in the college where I lived, all the girls were Spanish people.
Hmm.
So I was listening to Spanish all day long,
Oh my gosh.
which is good.
So did like you're immersed in that, you're learning Spanish, and of course you're in class, and you're kind of forced to. Did you then also try to make sure that you're watching like the local television shows and listen to the local radio to
No,
just pick it up even more?
no, no time for that. No
Oh, okay.
television. There was no TV
Yeah.
in the thing. No, in the house.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So your parents, like they didn't know Spanish, right? They had to
No,
also learn, correct?
they didn't learn. They just they took me there, introduced me to the director of the college, and that was they spent the summer with me, the 2 months there, and they left. They
Oh
left
my
me
gosh.
there. Yeah, they left me there.
Oh, wait a minute. So they went back to Haiti? Where did they?
Yes,
Oh my
yes,
god.
yes. But after a year or so, they moved. My father was the director of an American company in Haiti, RCA Communications.
Mm,
So he was the director in Haiti. Then, when Duvalier came to power, Duvalier arrested his brother, who was involved into politics.
mm,
Okay, killed him in jail. So my father, and then at this point, he wanted the whole family. If he had one person, he wanted the whole family.
mm.
And my father did not feel comfortable there anymore. So he told the US company, the head office, the situation, and they told him to leave the country to come to the States. So he went to New York.
Oh my god.
Yep.
So you lived in Spain until what age? Like what point did you
Until for 6 years. So that was 16, 16, 12, what was that?
23?
1960,
23, something like that?
71.
Yeah, yeah,
No. Yeah?
yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
and then you moved from there, where did you go?
So then, a few years after, my father died in New York.
Mm,
And I had just finished my career, my BSc. So I flew to New York. And my mother was so distraught at that point and all that. So I decided I'm going to stay with her in New York.
mm.
Okay, now started the other part of the story. No green card, no job.
Oh my god.
You need a job to have a green card.
So at that age, you were 23, about 20, how old
I
were you about then?
was, oh my God, the years. Wait a sec. Um, I think it's 68 that I finished. Uh, 24 about.
When about 24 years old, you moved to New York, no green card, no way to work. And then
no
what?
green. Yeah. And then
Oh
a
gosh.
woman at RCA Communications who admired my father so much, she came to the funeral and told me before she left, she said, if you need anything, if you have any problem, give me a call. So she gave me her card. So a while after, I called her. I said, listen, I can't find a job
Yeah.
because I don't have a green card. And you need a green card to have a job.
Mhm.
So she tells me, okay, come and see me. And she says, she offered me, she says, we're looking for a receptionist right now at RTA. Why don't you come and work for us for a while
Mhm.
and be until, and then we'll give you the thing, the
And they
recommendation for
sponsor
the
you,
green
right?
card.
They sponsor you, right, at that point, so
They
you can work. Yeah.
sponsored me. Okay. Then she found me, she came one day, she found me a job. She's looking for me.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. At the Rockefeller University.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, that famous place.
Yeah.
A technical assistant, as a technical assistant. She drove me there in a taxi herself. Can you believe it?
Oh my God.
And okay, so I got the job. And that was a very prestigious department, Nobel Prizes here and there. Okay, it was a fantastic environment, and everybody so passionate. And that's where I started to become passionate about science, about research.
Oh my. I mean,
Okay,
think about that for a minute. Like I mean, the universe lines things up how it's supposed to, but you couldn't write that story, right? You couldn't make that up. It's amazing what the decisions that your parents made to Spain and then your father passed, like all of that led you to fall. Like, did you have any idea that you had a love or like for science until you had took that job, or
okay.
that's
Let
yeah,
let me go back a little bit.
yeah.
Okay, I always had a passion for helping people.
Mm,
Okay, I felt a calling to help people. Okay, since a young age, I wanted to be a doctor. Okay, so that I can help people.
mhm,
But I could not see a cadaver or blood and all
mm.
that. I could not. So I so happened to see a movie about Marie Curie, okay, and her husband, who discovered so many things and all that. So I said, oh, I want to be like Marie Curie then. I cannot be a doctor to help people. Maybe if I do research, I'll be able to discover the cause of disease, and so they can have make medicines to help people.
Oh my
So that's
gosh.
how it went.
So
Okay,
24,
so I
right? You
went.
get that job at 24, and you find that okay, I really like the science side of things. Wh- what next? What
And
happens? Yeah.
next, where the universe comes, that's where I met my ex-husband, who was a postdoc at this point from Canada.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so, and we would be discussing science. Because I was just a technical assistant, I wasn't among the doctors and all that, you know.
Mhm.
So he would give me things to read because I wanted to learn, and I would write papers. He would correct my papers and stuff like that. So I was learning science a lot. There was plenty of science between us. Okay, which really was the only the only thing finally. So what happened is we got
Bonded
married.
by science, right? Hey, that's a double meaning. You're bonded by science, and then you think about chemicals, bond, all that stuff, right? You're
Exactly.
clever. See, there's a
That
few smart things rolling around up here. Occasionally, they pop out.
exactly. So what happened? So we got married in New York,
Mhm.
and a few years, 1 or 2 years later, he got a position in London, England. Okay,
So you're back to
so we
Europe.
were to live in England.
my gosh.
back to Europe. Okay. Lived in England, in London, and I told the head of the department who wanted me to work there, and I said, no, I want to be like Marie Curie, work with my husband. And then he said, no, we don't, they don't allow husband and wife to work in the same department here. They won't give you the thing, the okay. So what he did, he hired me to work for him in because it was my husband's lab.
So
So
what
we
what
worked
if you
together.
could, you don't have to do the hard method, but what year roughly was that when that happened?
Wait a sec. We got married in 71, so it must have been 72, 73.
70, so that's a time when it was still the thought that men, whatever, were the head, and you, like that, the thing you just talked about, how husband and wife couldn't work together and that kind of stuff. Has that do you now flash forward
Yeah,
a bit, but I want to come back to this story. That's changed though now there, right? Like now that's not, is that still a tradition?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Well, I know it changed in my department because
Yeah.
it was so successful, our
Yeah.
collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know how it is right now, if
Mm,
it's changed in that respect.
gotcha.
But yeah.
So now your husband hires you in his lab, and then
Uh-huh.
what?
And so we work together. We have plenty of discoveries together and all that. We were day and night working. So it really was positive, a positive experience, and for the lab as well because they saw that it can work.
Mhm. What
Um,
was your
and
biggest
yeah,
discovery at that time? You guys working together, what was your
pardon.
biggest discovery? What was your biggest discovery at that time when you guys were working together?
Oh God, I won't get into the thing. It's about ribosomes, really basic science.
Mhm. Wow.
Yeah.
Alright, so flash forward, right? You're still at
Flash
this point,
forward.
you're still at this point, right? You're not, you don't have the formal kind of education, right, at this point. You're learning on the
I
spot.
just have my BSc.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah, just my BSc. And before I started in the lab, I wanted to do something. So I started to do translation, okay, English to French for
Mm,
people over there. So I
mhm.
got a few jobs working at home, and then I got into the lab. Okay, so and then I became member of the Institute of Linguists while I was there. Okay, so well, then I became pregnant. My daughter was born in England.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I stopped working, and after when she was 8 months, the contract for my husband's work was over,
Mm.
and he got a position in Canada at McGill.
Oh my gosh. So
Okay.
back to North America.
Yeah, back again. I'm telling you, it's back and forth
Oh
everywhere.
my gosh.
So we came to Canada, and so I wanted to be a stay-home mom.
Mhm,
Believed in that with my
mhm,
background and all that. That's what I believed in, and my husband agreed with that as well. And so I stayed home. And meanwhile, I used to get. I started. I have to learn. I love learning. I love to do things. So I took night courses at McGill, translation, English French, French English,
mhm.
and I started getting jobs in that area, working at home. So I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning while everybody was sleeping to do my little work. And I translated some books, scientific books for children, high school children, and the things for the teachers as well, the book for the teachers, a whole series. And so little by little, then a few years later, in 1977, my son was born. And I waited while they were still young. I, I wanted to recycle myself, take a few undergraduate courses,
Mhm.
because at this time molecular biology was coming into life. So I wanted to start learning those things. I would take classes here and there at McGill until my both of them went to school. Then I jumped into a PhD.
So
Crazy.
how old were you when you finally started pursuing your PhD?
Ah, wait a sec. 1988. I was
So
44.
44. So
I
you
know I got my PhD. I started at 1982.
okay.
38.
So you were self-studying, working, you started your receptionist, right? And then you're self-studying and learning. You're working in your husband's lab. This is like a decade of this before. So you've got quote unquote a decade of real world experience in labs, writing papers just because you were interested in it. Then you said, "Hey, I'm going to be crazy and I'm going to go from a PhD after all of this," right? So a decade of that and you finally jump into a PhD. So talk about that. I mean, wow.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot,
Yeah.
right? So how
I
long did it
had to
take to get
be,
through your
I
PhD
had to
program?
be
Yeah. How long did it take you to
like
get through it?
everybody else. That's what my 6 years
6 years. Okay.
from start to finish.
Wow.
PhD exam, the whole thing. Six
So
years like everybody in the lab.
yeah, so it's almost at this point, it's almost 2 decades, almost 20 years from start of you being a
Yep.
receptionist. That's, I mean, that clearly that's a passion, right? That
Yes.
you continued on that pathway. That's amazing. All right,
Yes.
so talk about that. Your what got in your brain to make you crazy enough to say I'm going after my PhD? What was that all about?
I don't know if I felt like I needed to do that.
Mm,
Okay. And my husband, being a PhD also, so we would be talking science all the time.
mhm.
And yeah,
Fine
and
with
I was passionate about science. I
yeah.
wanted to, yeah,
Did you find that because at that point you entered your PhD, you've had a decade of real world kind of work. Do you did it come a little bit I don't want to say it's easy ever, right? The PhD pathway, but did it come a little bit easier because you had a lot of experience leading into that?
that's for sure. That
Yeah.
helped.
Yeah.
And number two, I was super organized.
Mm, mm,
Okay, I chose a supervisor who was easygoing.
mhm,
Okay, so I asked him at first. I said, my priority are my children. So I've got to pick them up in school at 3 o'clock.
mm,
Do you think I can make it? He
mhm,
says, yeah, sure. You can organize yourself. So that's what I did. Went to work early in the morning after I drop the kids to school. And 3 o'clock, I would go pick them up, stay home, do homework, go to violin lessons until they went to bed, and supper and all that, of course. And later on, if I have an experiment, I would put my
mm,
experiment on a timer, and I would go back after they're in bed to finish my experiment
mhm.
until midnight or so.
Did you have
So,
did you have any during that time? 6 years is a long time doing that grind, right? As what Americans like to say, grind.
mm,
Any discouraging times where you're like, "Ah, I don't know that I can continue to do this." Did you have any
oh
of those?
no, oh no, I was really into it. You can't imagine. I was so passionate about it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I did some really important work there as well.
Mm,
I discovered nice things.
yeah.
And oh yeah, I was very passionate about it. You see, but meanwhile, although I was passionate and all that, there was always in the back of my mind that I felt a bit far away from the people that I wanted to help.
Mm,
Okay, it was all the time there.
mhm. Wow. Very, very interesting. So, you PhD, you operate in that field for how long? And then, because there's a transition, right, that takes place even after that.
Yeah, yeah. 1988, I got my PhD, got divorced in 1993, and so I worked as a postdoc, as a senior scientist in two or three different labs.
Hmm.
But at the end, what happened to me was that the agencies, I always applied to a government agency for my salary because my supervisors never had enough money to pay for my salary.
Right.
So every time I applied, and especially at the end, they told me you've got to have your own lab
Mm.
and apply for your own grant. But when I saw how much my supervisors suffered to get their grants, I said, I don't want that. I
Mm.
don't want people depending on me for their salaries, like a
Right.
technician or students. Okay, so I could not take that. And that's when I quit and went. And meanwhile, during all my work as a senior scientist and all that, I was the right arm sort of my supervisor in writing grades.
Mm.
And they used to tell me I'm so good at writing. I said,
Mhm.
oh, so that's still in my mind. I said, okay, let me go as a medical writer. Let me try to do medical writing.
Mhm.
So I started with medical communication companies, the medical writing for pharmaceutical companies. Um, then they bought the company that I worked in Montreal was bought by a U.S. company, I think, and they started laying people off. So I was laid off, trying to find a new position, did not find the thing, and then a headhunter found my resume online and told me such and such a company in New Jersey is looking for a senior medical writer
Mhm.
or associate medical director or something. And then I said, okay, why not? And then he says, okay, they want you to come to give a talk and see what happens. And they gave me the job.
So were you able to work remote or did you have to move there?
Oh, yeah, I moved there.
Oh
Had
gosh.
to move there. At
Moving
that point,
again.
there was no remote.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think that was 2014 or
Mhm.
2007 or something like that.
Mhm.
207. So that was in New Jersey. Worked there 4 years or 3 years, I think. Then they started to lay, they were bought also by another company. They laid out so many people. Then I found another position in Philadelphia, not Philadelphia, yeah, in Philadelphia area.
Mhm.
And then 2 years there, and then North Carolina.
Mm.
And that was the end of it. That's when I decided to retire.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, that would make just about anybody want to retire, all of that. So is that what led you into your journey becoming a health and life coach? Is that when you
Well,
made the
what
transition?
led me into that journey, let's go back a little bit.
Ah.
After my divorce and after um, my PhD and all those things, all the emotions, everything around, I started putting on weight. When I
Mm.
went to my doctors for my checkup, he says, do you realize you're 30 pounds heavier than last year?
Mhm.
I said, oops. Okay, so that's when I started. Of course, at this point, it was restrictive diets.
Mhm.
I would go on to restrictive diets, lost the pounds, but right after I stopped the diet, I started to put it back on little by little. And of course, so I've been yo-yo dieting for a while. And after my retirement, I decided, okay, let me take my health more seriously. I had lost almost all the weight. There was little left to learn. So I discovered, that's when I took the time to look for something to help people. And
Mhm.
that's when I discovered coaching, that
Mhm.
coaching existed as a career.
Yeah.
So I
So
went on.
there's a natural correlation, right? Because you've always had the heart of a servant with all the things that you've done. That was been your motivation. So it was a natural transition. Do you find that your background with your PhD and science correlates any at all into your coaching that you currently do?
A bit, because we, after all, the technique that I use, it's scientific, has plenty of scientific um, background, you know. So I use a bit, and I could understand better what they were talking about due to my background in science. Yes,
Wow. So you'd mentioned something there that made me think of a question that I had prepped for our conversation. Many women struggle with weight gain and other health
yeah,
challenges, specifically during menopause, right?
during menopause.
What advice would you give women in the stage of life who are looking to improve their health and well-being in
I mean,
relation
that's what I
around
do.
menopause, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I do. I help them so that, because it's only after I took that course and understood what was going on, that's when I really understood what it takes to stay healthy and keep the weight off.
Mhm.
And that's why my passion right now is to empower women to use those techniques so that they don't have to go through the yo-yo dieting like I did myself, you know? So
What
they
are some of
can,
those tips that you typically provide women that are, what kind of tips do you give?
well, it's a whole story there, eh?
Yeah, sure.
Because, yeah, a lot of, it's sort of a neuro-linguistic programming, the
Hmm.
program that I use.
NLP. Yeah.
Like
NLP. The
no,
NLP.
not really,
Oh, okay.
but it's sort of including in each session experiential exercises,
Mm,
so that they live the changes that we're trying to instill in them.
mm,
They live it, they live that moment, and they don't have to remind themselves to be different. It's
mm,
something they, after practice after practice,
mhm.
it becomes second nature.
Mm.
Yeah. And
That's
of course,
yeah.
I don't give, it's not a diet. I
Right.
don't give them a diet. Okay? Advice only to choose whole foods
Mhm.
instead of, you know what I mean?
Processed and
And,
all that stuff. Yeah.
or get rid of processed, that's for
Mhm,
sure. Exercise,
mhm.
drink a lot of water, and sleep, which is so important in weight loss, which I had problems with myself, and even now sometimes.
Yeah, because
You
that's
know,
what, like, I think you and I talked about in the discovery call. So I'm been a personal trainer and nutritionist since my 20s, and
yes, sir.
the rest is when the building actually occurs. That's when
Absolutely,
yeah, it's not, you do the work in the gym. Like, for example, like when you're trying to build a muscle, you're tearing the tissue down, right, in the gym. People think, oh, that's when I'm getting big. No, it's when the rest. You got to get proper and plenty of it, right? So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. And without the rest, I mean, if you don't sleep well, the hormones get
Oh, out of
imbalanced.
whack.
Ghrelin gets, yeah. And I find out for myself too. Like when I don't sleep well, the next day I feel like eating carbs,
Yeah,
sugary stuff.
that's right.
You know, yeah.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
it's
What
very
are
important.
some of the biggest misconceptions about menopause that you encounter in your work with women?
And that sort of thing in general, it's people don't really understand what's going on because our bodies become different completely after menopause. Okay, the hormones go crazy.
Mhm.
Okay, so learning how to balance your hormones and doing all those things that we mentioned, that would help. You know, strenuous exercises is not recommended at our age either.
Mm.
Okay, and now apparently, I mean, I see all the literature in my time doing this. I did not have. Now they recommend to have so much protein at this stage of life.
So much what?
1 gram per pound of ideal body weight.
Mm. You said so
Okay,
much. You said protein.
protein.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Got you. Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because as we age, we lose muscle mass.
right.
You know, and to keep your muscle mass, they recommend eating quite a bit of protein.
Hmm. Hmm. Plus, it
Yeah,
helps you feel. It keeps you fuller longer, and
that's it.
it is the most thermogenic of the macronutrients. So
Exactly.
that helps as well, particularly as we age, because we many times people as they age they become a bit more sedentary. So you want to make
Hmm.
sure that the macronutrients you're eating are actually assisting and helping with that sedentary. If you're going to not move the body like you need to, um,
Hmm.
yeah, you're right. Protein is vital. It's vital.
Vital, but too much is too much sometimes. Even
Right.
me, I find it difficult to eat the 1 gram. You know, I go for zero point 0.8 gram.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
you can't. So in your bio, you mentioned a program that helped you lose weight and feel more energized. Can you tell us more about that program and how
that's
it?
the one. That's the
Yeah,
one I'm talking about
yeah,
now.
yeah. So, is there a name for it? What is it called?
No, it's well, we call it. It's the program I learned with the school where I graduated
Got
from my coaching, Health Coach Institute.
Okay, I got you.
Okay, they designed the program with a nutritionist and I don't know if you know if you heard of JJ Virgin.
I don't
No,
know. I don't think so.
no, okay. She was part of it, helped them with the program.
Mm,
Yes, and what I recommend a lot also is to eat the trifecta:
mm.
protein first, légumes, pas légumes, greens,
Great.
veggies, and some low, a little bit of carbs
Yeah,
at eat. Okay, protein, fiber, and a bit of fat. I mean,
yeah. Fat. Yeah, fat's essential. Yeah, it's.
yeah. So those three. That's one of the misconceptions that you should not eat fat to lose weight, and that's not true. You need fat to lose fat, but the
Absolutely.
good
Well,
fat.
your body's going to hang on to what it's not getting enough of, and also you need that
Yeah,
for, as you know, the nerves and all that kind of stuff. The fats is vitally important for
yeah.
that kind of stuff. So, what are some of the kind of most common challenges your clients face when they're trying to make lifestyle changes?
Hmm. Time,
Hmm.
busy life. That's why my program, the way I set it up with them, is that it fits into their lifestyle with not much effort. You
Hmm.
know, yeah, and that's how I did it myself. I remember to move for movement. I would when I was working, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the gym for a bit of workout before I went to take my shower and go to work.
Hmm.
Okay, so you incorporate it easily into your lifestyle. That's and then they have low energy because of the way they used to eat and the yo-yo dieting they've been doing. So their metabolism is shut down almost. Okay, um, yeah. So those are the main complaints, and of course belly fat
Yeah,
that
yeah.
we all
I
have.
think, well, and I think too, like it's funny you said that because there's a similarity here there's congruency in what you and I do in ways. Um,
By
they
the
say,
way, do you still train people?
yeah, I have clients, online clients. I've got a couple in person, but I do a lot of coaching online and via phone calls and things.
Really?
I do, and so what's
Okay.
funny is you talk about time. One of the things
Yeah.
is it's like you pose to them, like what kind of so you flip it. You say, what kind of things do you like to do on the weekends? Go play golf or whatever that is that their thing is like. Okay, do you let anything interfere with that? No, it's like, well, if you really want to do something, you will find the time. We have more time than we act like we do. Like, how much TV are you watching? Let's track
That's
that.
it.
So, part of my plan when I have somebody tracking their what they're eating, I say, hey, okay, I want you to track this for 21 days and be honest, your food intake. But I also want you to
Mhm.
track your habits. And what I mean by your habits, the big ones that suck your time that you don't realize are sucking your time. I want you to track
Yeah.
your TV time, how long you're spending on your phone, your electronic devices, and doing things that aren't important. Let's track that. And we will
Mm.
find the time to get your body moving. And we'll find those times. So they're and what I tell them is like, I can't be there. You need to be 100% honest because if you're not, you're only lying to yourself. And then I can't help you. The reason why you called me, you're paying me a lot of money to coach you and get you there. So you got to be honest with me,
Exactly.
you know? And so, and you find that people have a whole lot more time. It's more about a want. They really
Mm.
truly don't want to. They think they do. So then you have to get to
Mm-hmm.
the root of it. What is your why? What is your why?
Mm-hmm.
What is the
Ah,
barrier mentally? Yes. What is the barrier that
see,
is holding you back mentally? Right. So go ahead. What do you?
exactly. This is the number one question, like in the first interviews, the first times I meet them. This is the crucial question to go deep into. What's the why?
Yeah.
And then remind them of the why.
Remind them.
After 6 sessions or so, 5 sessions, remind them, we review the why.
That's it.
And we have a way, I have a way for to make them ritualize. It's a ritual, the changing of habits. Okay, like for example, if I do one experiential exercise 1 week, they have all week, they leave it with me,
Mhm.
and then they apply it every single day until the next session without thinking about it. You see, without thinking that they have to change.
Mhm.
So it's just making those habits become second nature. That's
Yeah,
the most
it's and
important.
mindset. That's the mindset piece that we're talking about, right? It is so
Yes.
crucial, and that's what you're doing. You're building healthy habits that then
Yeah.
programs the mindset correctly.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
Exactly.
I love, and I think like for me, like if I'm a client and I'm looking for a health and wellness journey or something like that, I would naturally be attracted to someone like you. One, because you speak eloquently about it, you're passionate about it, but there's also that thing. Hey, you have your PhD in this type. You like you've studied molecular type stuff. Like she knows what she's talking about. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of really good credibility there, right? You've gone your own journey that you could share, but you
That's
also
why.
have the science side of it, right? So which is beautiful, which is
You
a
know
beautiful.
what was my problem? You know what my problem
What
was?
was your? What was it? What was?
Marketing.
Ah,
Marketing. Oh, having been so much academia all my life, marketing was completely
mhm.
a blank subject for me.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is, and that's a big thing. Like your audience is out there, your tribe, your people are out there. It's about how do I
Yeah,
find them? You know.
exactly.
So, so
Exactly.
what role do you feel that self care plays in maintaining good health and well being, especially for women over 50, the whole menopause thing? What
100%. Oh, that's the most important thing they can do for themselves.
I think
Okay?
self care is how you take your power back.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know.
that's what I try to give them, to
Mhm.
make them become the expert on their own health. and to be the hero of their health, you know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because so many people, I remember, uh, so many people feel the other thing that some that I just sort of, the other problem they have is that they say, "Oh, I'm too old for that. I'm too old." Oh my God, this is really real. That's what they think.
And how old are
They
you?
give up
You want to
and they
share with
think,
people? Share with people how old you are.
I am 80 years old,
So you
but I
never.
feel 50.
That's it.
I
You're never
don't
too old.
feel my age.
So
I
tell me
don't
when
feel
somebody,
my
I'm
age.
curious about this, is when somebody says that, because
Uh-huh.
you have a really unique perspective you can speak from a point of view. When somebody tells you
Uh-huh.
I'm too old, what do you say to them? I'm curious.
Well, are you familiar with, first of all, my thing was, you are the age you feel.
Mm.
Okay, number one. Number two, are you familiar with the work of Ellen Langer or Langer? I don't know how to pronounce it.
I don't think so. No,
No,
tell me about it.
she's the first women psychologist to be tenured at Harvard.
Ah,
Okay, that was years ago. So in 1979, I love that experiment. In 1979, she made an experiment she took a bunch of men 70 years old and up. Okay, they were tested all the signs, all the, what do you call it, uh, blood pressure,
like
everything was
biomarkers,
tested
all the
before.
biomarkers and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
the biomarkers.
yeah.
All that, yeah.
Biomarkers, that's the word I'm looking for. All the biomarkers were tested before they started. It was a retreat. She invited them to a retreat. The place was all decorated with things 50 years ago.
Mm,
Okay, 1959.
mm,
The journals there, reviews, magazines, everything was for that from that time. That is 20 years before. So that there are things that those guys had experienced 20 years earlier.
mhm.
Okay, and TV program, everything. Some of them needed can't say, a stick to walk
A cane. Yeah.
up the stairs, a cane
Yeah.
to walk up the stairs, and things. So she has them there for a week and told them, talk in the present tense, like everything is happening now.
Mhm.
Fidel Castro invading Havana now, this year, and all that. So during the year, and little by little, you should see the changes in those people. At the end of the week, they tested again all the biomarkers. Big difference, okay? Big difference in all of them. The one that needed the cane did not need the cane anymore to go up the stairs. Amazing. So, which makes you see that part of what we define as aging actually derives from mindset.
Absolutely. And I've read that study. Not I've read that study before. I didn't. I couldn't have never cited who the researcher was that did that. You just did that. But
Ellen
but
Langer, I don't know how
it's
you
it,
pronounce it.
yeah, it's amazing. I mean, and it is so true. That's with just about anything that we do. It's all here,
Yeah,
right? That's the
yes,
thing that separates those that do and those that don't. It's what we,
yes,
it's the self-talk and how we hypnotize ourselves daily with the words that we use and say to ourselves, because
exactly.
the subconscious mind does not know the difference whether it's actually happening or not. And it's what we're saying to
That's
ourselves.
it.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I've
And I
heard about
think,
that. They took them, like say today is 2024, and they put them in an environment that looked like it was 2014 or 2004, so that they felt like they
yes,
were there again. Because then your cells remember that, and they start
mm,
acting upon that
ex-
time, right?
exactly.
Wow.
So that's why they tell you you are the age you feel. I remember if you now with 80, it's a number that I can remember. But I remember a few years ago when in my 70s or even 60s, they would ask me my age. I wouldn't know. I had to subtract to find out my age, really.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that way. I don't think about my age. You
No.
see what I mean? Because
Well,
I do not feel my age.
when you and I did our discovery call, um, when we first met, and when you told me your age, like so there are people that will view the YouTube and Spotify will see the video version of this, but we have the people on the audio that won't see you. For those that are listening, if you saw her, you would think that she was maybe in her mid 60s. So when she told me she was 80, Jacqueline, kid, tell the truth here. I about fell out of my chair. I was
I
completely
know.
shocked.
I
I
remember that.
was, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. You wouldn't believe it. And
I remember that.
yeah, one, because obviously you eat right and you take care of yourself, but it's mindset is probably the biggest contributing factor to why you look
Definitely.
ageless. This is why you look ageless, so
Definitely. Yeah.
it's amazing. I love it. So
So
can you
that's
share
what I tell people.
yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead. Go ahead. No, tell me.
No, no, I say that's why I tell people, that's what I tell people when they tell me you're too old. You know,
You never
you are the age you feel,
you
and
are
it's all in
absolutely
your head.
absolutely. It's so true. Do you have a success story you could share about one of your clients that has successfully transformed um in the process of working with you?
Yeah. There's one that I can tell. Oh, but I mean, I can tell the story. Like she said, not only because that she was dubious about starting the program or not, because she had started so many programs before and did not get good results. But my Jacqueline's program is different, she says. And she says, let me see if I can find her words. Anyway, just to tell you, she says, not only Jacqueline's program, I lost in the 90 days because my program is a 90-day program. In the 90 days, not only I lost 10 pounds because I wanted to, she has to continue, they lost 10 pounds, but no, it did not change my health, only it changed my life.
Mm,
I feel more energetic, I feel more beautiful, you know, and it was so touching.
yeah, absolutely.
It
So
changed your life, she says.
absolutely, and I think when then it goes back to this mindset. The physical thing, people may come to you for a physical thing, but then when you help them build the mental, it's so because then I mean the physical is still important, but then you find like God, this mental thing is so much more valuable to me at this point, right? Because it impacts so many other
Yeah,
things, right?
I know,
It's such
yes, all your life. You
it
see,
does.
because yeah, if you, it's one of the when you have the how do they call the circle of life.
Mm,
It has an effect on every single one of the areas of your life.
mm, mm.
You
So
know?
there's a there's a quote. I think it was Winston Churchill said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It's the courage to continue that counts."
Yeah, I
Right?
heard that one.
That's
Yes,
that's the showing up every single time, right? And
exactly.
let me ask you this: I know this is true for me. I wonder if it's true for you because I will assume, and if I'm wrong, maybe this is going to be a wrong assumption. I'm assuming you tend to attract more females and maybe particular older females.
I only work my thing. My program is called Fabulous Beyond 50.
Gotcha.
My
Gotcha.
so I only work with 50 plus people,
Yeah.
women.
Do you find I know
What about you?
yeah, so I tend to attract 50 plus because that's my age, but I have clients in their 30s because they'll see me working out in the gym and they're
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh, they think that I'm in my 30s when I'm working out, and I tell them I'm 52. They're like, oh God, you can move like that. It's like, yeah, you can too.
That's it. You too,
You know,
exactly.
you can
Yeah,
move like that
that's
too.
what I thought too.
Yeah. So do you find that many people that come to you, I'm curious, it's more about they just want validation and permission to be great and to do. than just about anything, right? Then we can get to some peel the layers back and get to a deeper thing. But do you
Mm.
find that to be a common thread with your people?
Yes, yeah, that's true. And also, they want to be heard. They
That's it.
want to feel. They want to be to know that they're not alone.
That's it too. And I think, oh God, you said want to be heard. It makes me think about this. Okay.
Hmm.
People, in my opinion, people want to feel secured, respected, and cared for.
Hmm.
I feel like the single greatest way that you can accomplish that is to have that person feel heard, not just listened to, but actually heard. And
Yes,
and and you hear them with an empathetic and compassionate ear.
exactly. This is, yeah,
Yeah.
that's the work of a coach.
Yeah, there you go. That's what it
Yeah,
is. That's what it is. That's what it is.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's
And some
it.
people, like a lot of people, makes me think about people tend to blur the line between empathy and sympathy too. And I think
Mm.
the way that I describe, and I'm curious on your description of empathy, but the way I describe and define empathy is like this. Empathy would be like if you walked by and you saw a hole and somebody was down in that hole and they were muddy and they were trying to get out, you walk by and you truly were concerned, whatever you said, man, I'm really sorry you're there. That looks terrible. I hope you make it out. That's sympathy. You feel kind of bad for their situation. Empathy is, man, I hate that you're there. You know what? Let me climb down there with you. We're going to figure out a way together. That's the difference between sympathy and empathy, in my opinion. I like to put
Yes,
analogies, visuals on things to make it more impactful.
I
So,
agree.
and then too, I think empathy goes a long way. I think, and grace too. Many times I'm having to teach clients to have grace for themselves when they come to me. Um,
Hmm.
they were so willing to give it away, but we don't give it to ourselves enough.
I know.
And the
I
forgiveness
I was
piece,
guilty of that.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's a common thread. People just
Yes.
they need to show grace for themselves and forgiveness.
Yeah.
You know,
So
so
you think of other people and you're the last one. That's my what I say to people in the thing because I know I was like that. Give, 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 and then I don't think of my own self care. You know what I mean?
well, and I think too, like there's a fault in that, right? I think
Yes.
I feel like again, these are just my opinions. I don't have any research to back this, but just my own experience in working with clients is we do not have the capacity to love other people any more than we love ourselves. We think
Hmm.
that we're loving them more. We don't because we don't know that because we only have our actual true love of self as our gauge.
Right.
That's my thought. What are some of the
Hmm.
most rewarding aspects of being a health and life coach that you find?
I feel like it's the accomplishment of what my life was about. You know, I love hearing that I had I did something for somebody. You see what I mean? That I changed their life. I had an impact. That's the word I'm looking for.
Mhm.
That I had an impact on their life. To me, it's so fulfilling just to hear that.
Yeah, you've left an indelible mark on them, kind of a fingerprint, so to speak, in a
Yes,
positive way, right?
yes.
So what
What about you, your program?
say again?
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no.
You go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was going to say what, we're talking about this. What advice, because you transitioned to life and health coach after a long career in the actual, sciences and things like that. What advice would you give someone who is considering a career in health and life coaching?
Go for it.
Hmm.
If you really feel, if you have that passion inside you, that feeling that you want to help people to have an impact on people's lives and help them, because a lots and lots of people, when they age, they're becoming less energetic. They're becoming more subject to all sort of diseases,
Mhm.
and they're becoming, yeah, so you see, whatever we can do to help people is going to be so appreciated.
Yeah. Well, Gandhi said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Ooh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And this is what I'm doing now.
That's it. That's exactly what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
so, you know, you've had such a, I'm looking down at the notes I made and researching your bio. You've had
Mhm.
such a diverse career path, right? Scientist, translator, and now health coach. Did you always envision this kind of journey for yourself?
Not
Or were
really.
there any surprises along the way? I guess your whole story is a surprise, right?
Yeah, my whole story is a surprise. Surprise after surprise. No, everything was a surprise, to tell you the truth.
Oh my gosh. But a welcome
But
surprise, right?
except for my wanting to help people, which has been in the background since I was a teenager. Okay. So
Mhm.
that's the only thing which is being realized now in this stage of my life.
That's the common thread through your whole story
Yes,
is your want to serve others.
right.
That's the common thread.
And you know why? Because I'm a cancer. I am a true cancer.
So when is your birthday?
July 9.
Okay, so
Cancer.
yeah, you are. You're an actual true. You're not even on the cusp. You're like a full-fledged cancer.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow. So I'm
So
a
this is me.
yeah, I'm an Aquarian, but I'm a cusp. I'm on the cusp of Aquarian and Pisces. So I take on both traits.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, sometimes people find it a bit too much. People find it. So
I'm curious about your show, your program.
yeah, yeah.
Do you give them? Is it a diet
So yeah, it starts with mindset. It starts with mindset.
with mindset?
I'm trying to get to the root of why they come to me. So for example, somebody comes to me because it's more than just one question.
Mm.
So it's what are your goals? And they say, I
Mm-hmm.
want a six pack. Okay. Why do you
Ooh.
why do you want a six pack? And let's
Mm-hmm.
say, well, I want a six pack because of X. Okay. You want to look good at the beach. Why do you feel like you need to look good at the beach? So you see, it's a question upon question because what I'm trying to get to, because it's a mental thing. It's always a
Same
mental,
thing.
it's always a mental thing. So
Yeah.
then we get down to it's like, well, so I'll fast forward to save time and not bore people with my story here because this is about you today. But it almost comes down to something when they were 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I was bullied or I was made fun of because I was fat. Okay, that's something to focus on. You really don't want the six pack. You want to defeat that feeling that you had there. So let's work on that. So the first
Mm-hmm.
thing that we're going to do is we're going to put you on a really strict program. I'm going to hold you accountable for that. But here's what I want you to focus on. Don't focus on the way you're looking. Let's focus on how you feel first.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you start feeling good, you'll start creating those other really good habits and doing those other amazing things. And then the byproduct of you feeling good, because that's a mental thing, you will
Mm-hmm.
look good. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where I start. It's always a mental conversation. And
Definitely.
what is the true motivation here of
Yeah.
why? And so then, because people are not, people aren't very logical, right? People make decisions on emotion and
Of
they
course.
they justify it with logic later. So what I'm trying to do is find that emotional fire that burns to like
Mm-hmm.
your point, whenever they hit a little hiccup or when we have that check-in, I'm reminding them, remember that 7-year-old boy you talked about making fun of? That's why you're here today. Don't give
Mm-hmm.
up on him. He's counting on you to be here and work hard today. He's counting on you to make the right decisions. So
Mm.
that's the type of coaching I give people is it's the mental.
Yes. Eh?
Comes, you know.
Is there a length of time for your program
It
from
depends
beginning
on how
to
long you
end?
want. I typically so guys will say, "Hey, can I sign up for 30 days with you?" I try to get them to commit to at least 90 days of commitment, because
Yeah, it
30
takes
days
90 days
they're going to
really.
see some whatever. But I know if I get them to 90 days, and it's not like, look, yes, I want to make a living, but it's not about the long term financial commitment they're giving me. It's about
No,
what they're going to get, the emotional deposit I get from their success. So
exactly.
I know that if they stick with me for 90 days, they're going to stick with me longer. Again, not for the monetary reward it gives me, but they're going to have the success in their life that they're looking for. And it will not only be success they've achieved in those 90 days, it'll be success that will be long term and standing, and they won't yo-yo up and down because they've
Exactly.
created a lifestyle, life improved habit that they sustain the rest
Exactly.
of their life.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Habit change is the key to everything.
It's it.
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
And what do you suggest they eat? Do you have
So
a
yeah,
stick?
very good question. And you need to start a podcast and have me on as a guest because I don't want this to
Yeah.
be about me today. But yeah, no. So I have them track their food intake, and then
Okay.
we talk about what are some of your favorite items that you like to eat, because I'm going to include that in their new diet because I
Me
don't
too.
want it to
Yeah.
be a punishment. And so
Mm-hmm.
then we make better bad choices, if that makes sense. We make
It's
better bad
uh-huh.
choices, and we just sustain that, and we stair step into it. It's not a cold cut off because they'll never sustain it. We stair step into it. So hey, this is a journey. So
Okay.
part of the questioning is, like I phrase it, is like, how long have you been this way, your body, the way you feel? 20 years. Okay, here's what I can
Mm.
promise you. It's not going to take us 20 years to get out of it, but you got to give me time because we're going to take a slow approach to this. You've got to break some really deep rooted bad habits. We got to get to the core of the
Mm.
mental thing that's causing this. And you have bad health habits, but we're going to step into this
Mm.
slow so that your body can
Okay.
accept it. It's not a shock to you, and you actually enjoy it. Because what we're trying to
One
do,
little change at a time.
it's it. Because what we're trying to do is reprogram the cells on the cellular level to communicate the proper
Yeah.
thing to you. And so you don't want to do that overnight, shock that. So that's it.
No.
We clean their diet up, and
So
just
when you tell them to track their things, so do you tell them how much of each macro they're supposed to
so
ingest?
not initially that 21 days. It's whatever, and then we look at what their goals are, and then every client
Okay.
is different. It may be we need to give them more protein. This client may, because of what they made a little bit more carbs. This may need a little,
Okay.
and it changes. So every
Mm-hmm.
every 60 days or so, we're changing up their diet because their
I
body's changing,
see.
right? So
Okay.
that evolves over time. Well, we evolve as humans over time, so their diet needs to evolve as well.
Exactly.
So
And exercise as well. You train them in the lab, in the
correct,
gym.
correct. Or hold on just a minute. Yeah, or because a lot of my clients are online, I send them programming on, hey, here's your 6 week programming that you
I
need to
see.
do, and so that's
Okay.
that's what we do. Um, and then we look at that again, and sometimes just say continue that for the next 6 weeks. So we're going to do the same body movement. We're going to change up you're going to go from a dumbbell to a cabled weight, but it's the same movement. So it gives the mind variety because they don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
bored and stagnant. So
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, it's a whole synergistic approach to it all, but
Mm-hmm.
it's heavily weighted toward the mental. It's
Yeah.
heavily weighted to the mental.
That's where it all happens.
That's the big thing. That's it, and that's where the magic happens. That's where the magic,
Definitely.
and that's where you then get those quotes like the lady that quoted you. Like, it not only changed my body, it changed my life.
Yes.
My life is different.
Yeah.
That's
She
what
get
we're.
more confidence. That's another word that she says too. She's more
That's it.
confident.
So let me ask you this: what are your thoughts on the role of technology in
Mm.
health and wellness, especially for older adults? Are there do you use any specific apps or tools that you find helpful, or is it all handwritten spreadsheets? What
Mm.
do you do there?
Mm. It's PDFs
Yeah,
that I send.
yeah,
Yeah, because we don't give too much information. We give curated information.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, during the sessions.
Mhm.
And if they want to know more, I have things that I send to them. You know?
Because really, what you're doing, you meet with them, you're actually writing them a prescription, so it's tailor made to them. You don't have a cookie cutter kind of thing, right? Because you can't.
No,
Yeah.
it goes according to the client.
Mhm. And
It's
no two clients are the
personalized.
same. No two are the same ever.
Not all the same. It's personalized.
Mhm.
You know, and I go with what their goals are and um, what their why is, the why. And
Yes.
I also have a thing that I send them that I do on the thing with them to train their brain to what success is. Okay, so I have them to, I go through an experiential exercise like that for them, with them.
That's
And as
so.
I say, they come and do. Like, for example, one thing I teach them to start losing weight, chew at least 30 times. So I have them come to the session with something, an apple, and then we do the experiment together. Okay, let's see. Like, first of all, can you guess how many minutes people chew in general? And so they would tell me the number. And then I say, one exercise they do. So we do, and then we count how many how many minutes, how many times we chew, and we compare at the end, and then we said, well, you see, to digest and assimilate all the goodies in that food, you've got to chew 30 times each bite.
It's
So they practice
intentionality.
that.
You're creating it's
Pardon?
intentionality, and you're going to
Yeah.
the basis of you're going back to the basics. Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. Chew 30 times. Practice that during a week. Each time you go sit down for a meal, count how many. So the next meal, add five more.
Mm.
You count each. So they do that for a week, and you can't imagine the difference it makes. Only that, when I did it myself, I would just eat half the plate, and now I'm full.
Well, because isn't it, and you can speak to this. I don't know the terminology, and we don't have to pin down the terminology or the whatever, but there's a delay from the time you eat to something for it sends a signal to your brain to tell you you're full. So what you're
Exactly.
doing is you're you're tricking them really in a way to focus on how many times they're chewing, so it gives the brain time to receive the signal to tell them they're full. That is brilliant.
Exactly.
That is
And
brilliant.
the next thing is 20-minute meals. You've got to take 20 minutes for each meal. And how do you do that? By chewing, by putting your fork down, breathing between bites. Okay, 20 minutes, because it takes 20 minutes for your stomach to signal to your brain that you're full. And I'm telling you, when I did it myself, I only ate, I was full after half my plate. I
Mm,
had to leave half of it. That's
that's brilliant.
amazing.
That is brilliant. I like that. I'm taking that. I'm going to use that. It's really good. I'm going to use that.
Yeah.
Here, I'm
Oh,
going to give
yeah.
you a tip maybe to you probably do this, but something I
What?
give this is not the same, but it's about a half a meal. So it made me think about this. So
Uh-huh.
when people go out to eat, right, the portion size is usually large. Uh,
Uh-huh.
and then we're caught up in the environment, the social kind of thing. We're not even thinking, but we're eating mindlessly, right? So what I tell them to do is when they order their food, is to tell the waiter, "Hey, here's what I want to
Bring
eat.
a dirty bag.
Yeah, well, bring me half of it now,
Hmm.
and pack the other half up, and bring it to the table at the end of dinner."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did
so
that too.
yeah, so because what's good about that, they're only going to eat what's in front of them. It's like, I can take the rest home, and they don't overeat. And so that's just a little trick
Yeah.
trick I do. But I like yours better. They're
Exactly.
intentional
Yeah.
about the chew. That's really good.
No, but they're both good. They're both good practices.
That's really brilliant. That's really brilliant. I really like that.
Yeah.
If you could give one piece of advice um, to women of any age about living a fulfilling and healthy life, what would it be?
Start doing it now.
Mm,
Take the time to see what turns you on, what really motivates you, and do it.
mm. It's never too late, man. It's never too late. I know that's a
Never too
simple way
late.
to say it, but it's not. Time. Time is going to move regardless. So you might as well be doing
Absolutely.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. You
All right.
see, in my time, there was no career, I, all those programs that they have now for determining what career should you take, you know,
Mhm.
like, what's his name? I forget his name now. Harv Aker, T. Harv Aker. All the things. It's only when I retired that I took his little career thing. What do you like? What turns you on? What all sorts of questions they ask you, and then they find out a list of careers that fit whatever your feelings are.
Mhm.
Okay, and that's how I discovered
Mhm.
coaching.
So what is the name of that again? What is that called? That tool that you used or that questionnaire? What is it called?
No, it's a course. I can't remember the name of it. T. Harv Aker. You heard of him, no?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay.
T. Harv Aker.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
he had a little program which I don't remember the name of,
Mm,
and I remember playing with it when I retired. I said, "Well, I want to do something. Let me see what." Because I did not know coaching existed.
mhm,
You see, I don't
mhm.
think it existed when I went to school. When I went to, I don't think so.
Not on the level it is now. More and more people do it. But so you may have said this. Uh, what age was that when you made that change to
Change for
to a health coach? When did you take on that role? How old?
70 after I retired.
That's crazy. That's
I
amazing.
was
Because
70.
you've had many lives in one life, but now you have a whole nother life at 70. So that's
Yes.
just freaking amazing. I love it. So we're now at the rapid fire question segment. Okay, this is where
Ooh.
you answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay, so
Okay.
Ray, you buckled in. Are you sweating
Yeah,
yet?
buckled. I am
You
buckled
sweating
up.
again? These are tough, hard hitting questions here. So
Ooh.
yeah. So what's your favorite way to unwind after a long day?
Do some exercise.
Hmm. What's one piece of advice you'd give your 20-year-old self?
Go for what you really love doing.
Hmm. Books or movies?
Books.
Early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
What's your go-to comfort food?
Ooh. Pasta with creamy cheese sauce.
if you can if you can master any skill instantly, what would it be?
Marketing.
That's good. That's still very a painful subject for you, I can tell.
Oh, it's very painful.
One word to describe aging.
Ooh. Mindset.
Mm. What's a place you still want to visit?
Australia.
Mm,
Curious about it.
me too. Who inspires you the most right now?
Oh, David Bayer.
Mm,
Have you heard of him?
no. Why does he inspire you? Who is he?
Wow. For his life, oh my God, he's such an influencer right now. I just was part of one of his programs recently that he did fantastic. He has a book called A Changed Mind, which I haven't read yet,
Yeah.
but I just bought it because he is his life story. He's very genuine about telling his story of addiction, all sorts of bad habits, to turn his life into a big success. And he's living his a fantastic life right now.
Oh my gosh.
And in the book, he tells the story. And now, if he got, I've got one. When you buy the book, he sends you a free ticket to his program that he's going to run in Texas in March.
Yeah. There you go.
A 3 day thing.
So, what's your favorite thing about being in your 80s?
Being in my 80s,
Yep.
well, not feeling it.
That's great. That's huge. That's probably the biggest takeaway of the entire show. That's amazing. Uh, what's something you're still curious about or want to learn?
Marketing.
And goes back to
It's my
marketing.
headache these days.
Define beauty in one sentence.
Beauty.
Mhm.
Define what beauty is
Define
it?
beauty in one sentence.
Oh, oh. What can I want? Define beauty? It's what you exude, um, from the inside.
Mm. So
This
it's
is what,
it's really what you give and you project, right? As opposed to a
yeah, what you
post.
project. That's the word.
And final one, oceans or mountains?
Oceans.
Yeah, beautiful. See, you survived. Those were tough, right?
I was
You
chained
sweat.
on.
Yeah, you're just sweating. So where can people find you? What kind of things you're working on? Where can people find you?
Well, I've got a website number one, jacquelinelanois.com. And I've got a Facebook group that I would be happy to receive the people. It's called Fabulous Beyond 50.
Mm,
That's where I am almost every day, giving pointers and talking with people. So that would be a nice place to join.
beautiful. And I'll make sure I link that in the show notes. And then I'm going to self plug my stuff too. I have a Facebook group as well, Reinventing Life After
Oh,
50. Yeah, Reinventing Life After 50. And then I have a PDF that you can find in the show notes that is just a quick start, 7-day quick start guide to do these kind of things we talked about, mindset, diet, just to get yourself. It's a quick start guide, so to speak. It's a free PDF that people can download.
oh,
Yeah,
great,
so it's great.
great. I'll be happy to.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what and again, we'll make sure I'll link those things that you shared in the show notes so people, if you're driving, you're watching, like, what did she say? I don't remember. There would be links in the notes of the
They
show.
can check my LinkedIn account as well, my
There you go.
LinkedIn profile.
There you go. So this is the kind of the portion where I give you kind of final words that you want to share. What kind of final words or takeaways do you want to share with the audience?
It's never too late to start doing what you love to do. Okay? Don't think age is only what's up there. It's all in your mind. Okay? Um, you know, play, I mean, because part of what we call aging is actually it comes from there. So never too late. Start doing what you really want to do right now.
I love that so much. It's really good parting words. Well, thanks again for tuning in to another episode of Reinventing Life After 50. And until next time, this is always to your health and wellness. Bye now.
Bye. Thanks a lot.